ferme-les, bro. T'as froid, ferme-les, man. Oh, j'ai pas le temps, man. Bitch.
An enemy has been slain.
Fuck you. Fuck off. Not gonna get me, bitch.
All is laid bare. Your team has destroyed a turret. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Evil lurks around every corner.
Triple kill! GG! GG, bro. GG! Yo, GG, bro. May the force be with me. GG. Motherfuck. Yo, bro. Carry that bitch. Smack them left and right. Stack, stack, stack. Smack them left and right. Like it's nothing. Gyat. Gyat. Yo, smack them left and right. Stack, stack. That's sick, bro. GG, bro. So bullshit. You need to do 2 games. Gosh. That's so bullshit.
Not a problem.
They go Jinx because I ban MF. See? They like, I'll go Jinx. You know what I mean? Just because I ban MF.
Let us hunt those who have fallen to darkness.
We won this. TSM. Let's go.
The shadows are to be feared. Purge with silver.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. "30 seconds until minions spawn."
dark should fear me. I hear the innocent cry out.
Minions have spawned.
In the dark, all is laid bare. Smell black magics.
First blood.
On wings of night. The shadows are to be feared. I hear the innocent cry out. The dark should fear me.
Bro, focus, man. Fuck. 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 Good job.
In the dark, all is laid bare. smell black magics. Evil lurks around every
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
I hear the innocent cry.
Has slain an enemy.
You're dependable. I like that.
I bring swift death. In the dark, all is laid bare.
The fuck? TP, motherfucker. What's going on?
I release them from their pain. The shadows are to be feared. They will be purified. Beware. Cleansing blood with silver.
Just like that?
I smell magics.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Sa mère, bro, man. Fuck. Au moins le ADC a pas eu le kill. At least the ADC didn't get the kill. Thanks God. That's what we want. The ADC didn't get the kill. Oh my God. The ADC didn't get the kill, bro. I'm so happy, bro. You know those times where when you die but you're still happy because the ADC didn't get the fucking kill. And I got 12 minutes. Boom. I got my boots. I got the mythic. I'm on, motherfucker. I'm on, nigga. That's gonna be useful because I need to crack him. A little bit. No! Fuck. I said ward, bro, man. This nigga don't ward, bro. Fuck. He doesn't ward. I cannot see them coming, bro. Fuck. Ward. Pendero. Fuck. Fuck.
Turret plating will fall soon. An enemy has been slain. Double kill.
The shadows are to be.
Triple kill. Destroyed a turret.
I smell black magic.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
On wings of night.
An enemy has been slain.
GG, bow, GG, let's go. We're crushing them. We're crushing them, let's go. We should have done a third one, boom. GG, bro. Trust me, bro, if I got my support, yeah, I'm going in, bro. You know what I mean? I lose a lot of games cause yo, I don't have my support, you know what I mean? It sucks. God. Big booty, God. God. I smash that any day, God. Twerking like that, I smash that any day, God. God. Bro. God. God. Big booty. Big booty. Yo, bro, GG, bro. GG, real was OP. Real was OP, not gonna lie. Real was OP. Back in bronze. Wow. Wow, GG. Alright, bro. Tomorrow I'll be on, bro. He left, he's tired. He's like, fuck that, I'm out. Hey, GG. guys. We beat it. We beat it. We get it. We slide. We beat it. We get it. We slide. 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 My nigga slide. Slide. Hey, bitches slide. Yo, bro. Bro, that was violent. Let me see who live. Let's see who live. Let's see who live, bro. Oh shit, this is the LCK. Yeah. Oh shit,
He
DKT1.
ults the waves, you can back away. Yeah,
DKT1,
Showmaker
shit.
instantly respects the threat of Faker going in and doesn't hesitate to use his ult to play safe, so they know they got an advantage bot lane. We don't need to do anything in the solo lanes, just make sure we don't die. Pretty respectful play from D+.
I was going to say, like, intelligent, respectful, map-aware play from my D+.
Guys, I'm gonna
this
shut
week.
my stream, bro.
What the heck?
Gonna shut
Another
my
Zenith
stream
wave this time
because
goes
I can't
wide
watch
there,
this. They're
as
gonna
Beryl is
ban me.
unable to find it onto Faker,
Gonna
who does
ban
have
me
the
and
ultimate,
shit.
so he was never really in too much danger there. But we know Beryl just likes.
They're gonna ban me and shit. You know what I
He's going to
mean?
be taking his Gromp here towards.
They're
the
gonna be like,
side.
oh, you're
Still
watching
a bit of a
this and
beautiful
that, oh,
by him
you know
so
what I mean?
far. It has, of course, contributed to the only kill T1 has put on the map just yet. Doran getting some plates here towards his bottom side. Still about a minute and 10 seconds left.
Yo, let me eat while I'm watching this.
Money's certainly going to be good.
I'm gonna finish eating, then
Flipped over the wall, so doesn't have
I'm gonna
that
shut the
ability
stream, bro.
at this point in time. Avoids the
Ugh.
flashes over the wall. Ona goes in, but Beryl is right there already. The curtains are going to get cold as now Lucid still trying to escape. I don't know whether Beryl is going to be quite as lucky, though, as he realizes he has to stick around, and that will spell his death. So a little bit of an overextension, and this is something that they were talking about on the space. The fact that DK sometimes just... much vision here towards the top side of the map as well. Rift Arrow going to be up in a minute and 15. And that could really help slingshot T1 into a better position in this game. So we're going to check it out one more time. And yeah, it was just Lucid a little bit too far forward. Has to use everything and the kitchen sink.
Like I'm on a website, you know.
So difficult to get out of the way from.
I'd rather go on a website because
Yeah, and, I mean,
if I go on Twitch, bro, I'm gonna get smacked.
Died anyway, so saves the summoner.
So
Getting
I
a
go
lot of
check
that
it on their
Barrel's just
website.
Like, okay, I'm gonna go down. No point using the summoner. And I think sometimes we have players who are like willing to throw down and try everything to live, and I think can often be a bit of a mistake. So still have that summoner available.
I think
for them.
Beryl sees deaths as a positive. That means I'm doing things.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
he has been a little bit known to do that.
Yep. And also,
Fair,
there was a Herald fight coming up in a minute's time, and so having the flash available so you can get on top of, you know, Faker or even Doran or Ona or anyone like that with a flash and the Shield of Daybreak, that could be a pretty good.
It's 100% the right call to save it and have that ready and available. But all flash is available across the board for everyone. So, I mean, the fact we have the Dragon and the Herald, big time to set up some potential fights. You know, there is still a gold lead for D+, but we look at where the gold lead is in terms of items. Everyone has their one item spike. The only person who doesn't really is Barrel, is Carrier rushed that locket instead of finishing his boots, so maybe a bit of an advantage
You
there.
rush that locket.
You know, even when you have like an extra pickaxe,
'Cause they
it's
know
not
they're
really
about
that
to
much of a difference compared
they're about
the
to
other
skirmish.
items. Both teams on roughly even footing going into this one.
I would say so.
He
And
got
aiming as
he
well,
got such a
going
good
for
positioning. He
physical
don't need
build
his
this time
boots
around. Does
now.
make a little bit of sense.
That's
Means
the
that
message
I'd like to sort of
from
change
the
my
goat.
assessment of composition a little bit
Carry
more,
out
'cause I
the
just
goat.
don't like AD Kaiser that much. Especially in a composition like this where he's up against a lot of champions you do not want to be in melee range of.
I will say though, when you're playing with double AP solo laners, I think it does make sense.
Oh, you have to do it, right? But it just means that the Kaiser value isn't going to be as high because you don't have the poke value from it. Things like this as you move later into the game.
I think it's one of those things where the item spikes come in a bit later. You know, we're talking more like 3 items, whereas normally
Yeah.
Kaiser's really strong on 2. But at that point, like late in the game, she's really going to shred.
And anything with percentage health damage is just going to do a lot. You have a lot of attack speed and can just burn through targets. Not necessarily some true tanks, but that won't matter as aiming. Still going to go in, even though it is relatively early. And the Void Seeker also going to be able to help out there, winning out in the trade. Bit of a cannon off here in this mid lane, but it's aiming that just secures his. Carrier moves over, finds Beryl. but they're just breaking each other's stuff, so it's going to be fine. And things have slowed down here a little bit. As I say that, they speed back up again. Beryl getting engaged on here. Good crash down as he's just looking to try and escape. And maybe this is why the flash was left off cooldown, as Lucid really wanted to secure his Raptors. He does do so. And T1, they just get a flash out of Leona. And we'll move over now towards this dragon. A lot of vision available here. Showmaker on that top side of the map with teleport in hand. Doran going back home now. And Lucid well aware of what's going on here, but I just don't know whether DK is going to have a way in. As I say that, Lucid just blast cones his way into the pit, and Owner is going to be able to stun him. The front flip gets him over, but that means the dragon definitely goes into the hands of T1. Equalizer goes down, not really doing too much. So an evening out of the Drakes. Another Earth, Wind, and Fire. We had one yesterday, and we have another one here today. Brilliant. You love to see it.
It's like both teams doing a lot of poking and prodding, trying to find little advantages and translate them into more. And that chunk onto Barrel and the flash being burnt was pretty big. Allowed T1 to get the Dragon, but then D+ kind of force them away so they can at least get the Herald as a consolation prize. And the mid tower, thanks to the pressure Showmaker had earlier on, is low enough where Herald with a bit of damage would be able to take it down.
Yeah, it's a big one. Now Faker actually able to put on a lot of pressure here towards his bottom side, but Showmaker is going to answer that. Spidey sense is tingling there as Faker is going to be able to back away.
This gives some pressure towards the top side. You can see a little concern that someone might turn up, so they do back away. But I think one of the things with a play like that from Showmaker is when you're moving towards Faker in the bot lane, you know they're going to have vision in the river because they just took the dragon there. So, you know, maybe a little bit ambitious for that, but he will find his place in the bot lane and just hold that wave.
Yep. Kind of interesting. Our Gold King is Gold Kinging. I just feel like aiming hasn't really done all that much this game, but he is like almost 20 CS up, has that extra kill, of course, from the previous skirmish, but he's 750 gold in the lead. So they've been funneling good old aiming, as they have done in the past. Let's see whether it's actually going to work out for them. I think this Kaiser is going to be really important later and later into the game.
I mean, especially since this was a game where we had a pretty late first dragon. Both teams have a dragon apiece. I could see it going to a later stage of the game, right? The goal is pretty even as well, so
I think every one of these Mountain Drakes is going to be so important as well. I mean, T1 has a Jhin. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for them to cut through if there's a triple stack of mountains on DK. So we could have a lot more action in this game, and I like that.
And I think it's just going to have time for aiming to get stronger and stronger. The 2 item spike coming in soon is big, but 3 is really where he's going to take off. And now, looking to Herald the mid tower. This won't kill it, but they should be able to finish it off with some mortars,
Beautifully done. Faker is going to try and return the favor, heading down towards his bottom side. No feats of strength, of course, but first turret blood going over to DK going to be an important one there.
I have to TP out.
Yeah, Faker will set up a turret of his own, and will look to take down this wave. And I think maybe he's just dead. He's lost the ability to do the old... okay, gets over the wall. That's very cute. Malignant's on the floor, and they just have to back away.
It was slick from Lucid to dodge on the divide, but Faker is slicker. Manages to outplay that one.
And I think DK were just really scared that the cavalry was coming in. They've ganked Faker too many times to know that if you don't insta-kill him, it could really be a bad time. And she is on top of a ward here as well, so T1 know exactly what they're up against. Aiming, pushing out this mid-wave once more. And Solarflare going to connect onto Owner. Zenith Blade to try and chain this CC, but the Magnus Storm is good from Carrier. Untargetable is Lucid, but he has to use everything to try and get out, and it does not work. Oh dear. Sometimes Zenith Blade in, and it is just not the right call, as now the Otacon going to get taken, and T1 really getting out to a fantastic lead off the back of just Faker's phenomenal moves in the bottom lane, and an overextension again from DK.
It's a very weird play for D+ to go for in that situation. You know, Showmaker's TP wasn't quite available, Faker's was, and very unforced. You know, I think this was a great outplay by Faker, and that's completely fine. But it's the play afterwards that I'm really wondering about, because this was so unforced. They know T1 were around the top side. They know they have vision. Maybe we're hoping the recalls are already coming through.
Yeah.
But it just looks so silly from our perspective. And again, Showmaker just recalled, doesn't have TP yet. Faker does. There was no way they were winning that fight. It just feels very unforced. And now T1 able to pick up the Atacam buff and found themselves a 1,000 gold lead.
That's a big one. And So now T1, it's not even, so they have a slight gold lead, but it feels even more than that now, with Artican layered on top of it. Showmaker going to be eating some honey fruit.
I mean,
And a setup for this dragon is going to be the next fight. I think DK not out of the wood, not out of this game by any means. They have to make some better decisions. Maybe just channel what they were doing earlier in the game, where they were making a lot of reserve choices and just, you know, suffocating T1 as best they could. That was working. Let's go back to that, perhaps.
they're finding angle to get some tower damage here. Oh, she was struggling now.
Yep, Doran in a much better spot as he flashes in and returns the favor. The turret will do a fair bit of damage there, as in fact, yeah, Doran does indeed die. But now we've got another fight breaking out. Beryl, once again, just gonna be dead. Solar Flare,
MTV creep after the Tarif
as it
kicks
hits
in.
absolutely nothing. And T1, they get the better end of it, even though it was a 1-for-1 as far as the top laners were concerned. Losing Beryl going to be a big deal because that should spell this dragon going on over to T1 without DK being able to do anything about it.
Starting to feel pretty rough for D+, considering how good this game started as well. Starting to fall behind and potentially losing a game like this feels so bad with how good it started here. Doran finds an angle on Shiwu, doesn't have the cooldowns available to fight. And ultimately, Doran just destroys the Rumble so quickly. That flash to follow as well, really well played.
Yep, and then walks up and so therefore dies to the turret. You can go right.
Oh, I did not.
Yeah, just letting him know. That's fine. Beryl could also have just not died.
I didn't.
Well, hindsight is 2020.
That play, that solo kill was pretty hype, and then I'm just, I didn't.
Beryl's in again. Lucid is there watching again, and Beryl's dead again.
I like to cut the middle, man.
This is just a never change game. I feel like for Doran.
Yeah,
Just playing like a psycho, racking up the most deaths in the game, and Doran. So, like, he finds his play.
That is like the epitome of an unforced error. You know?
Yes.
It did not have to happen. I think he expected that minion was actually
his Mandarin is on par.
a turret shot or two. But unfortunately does not happen. Grand Starfall goes down as she is just going to get swept back and will do a fair bit of damage here to Ona. And the asset is not good. Usually also in a little bit of trouble. Good claims remaining. But it's not going to be enough. Carry up just being a defender. As Lucid realizing that perhaps he's also overextended and Beryl's out of the gate once again. Okay, it's time to die. Once more. As these health bars are so incredibly low. If Beryl can actually get in there, Solar Flare is back again and he throws it down.
Defender DD sweatshop.
Position. The Eclipse wears off. Beryl is certainly killable, but so are T1 as Doran's teleported in. And oh my goodness, this Gwen is so scary. 15 seconds until Shiu's back up again. And it's a 4v5. In goes Carrier, but doesn't really find the angle. And now Showmaker with all that mobility, looking to see what he can get done. Untargetability, good there from Lucid. But Gumayushi, he lands the bullets. Faker goes golden. And DK melts like butter in the microwave. T1 just destroy them.
Beautiful team fight from T1, baiting out D+, you know, Carrier going in, knock-him abilities, just trying to force out the aggression from D+ and Faker at the end with that Seeker's Arm Guard getting so much value. T1 just playing with the...
It's funny how they censored the word fuck, but not
T1,
nigga.
like, that recoup was just so incredibly impressive. You get around Doran, who has that full health bar, and DK, they could smell blood in the water. And it just wasn't T1's. It was, in fact, theirs. As this starts it all off, and
I think Shiwu might be a little bit sick of seeing the
Yeah, brother to the Chinese said that.
And then here, this
just
one's
to
pretty cool.
there
Carrier
attack them, so
looks to
it's
try
like
and threaten Showmaker, forces the ult, doesn't actually connect. I think he was going for the flip, actually. I thought he was just baiting him out, but doesn't find it. But then the Jin will get so much value here, and Faker, the Seeker's Arm Guard at the end. So much value.
yeah, hits every single bullet. And T1 lose absolutely no one for it. And so DK well and truly on the back foot now. They augment this Infernal Drake with the first of the mountains and everything coming up T1 here in this game number 1. And it looks like the woes of DK
You might get the chair if this
not
was the
ended
jury.
just yet. It felt like things were going to be all right.
No,
And it's since not necessarily been the case.
I feel like a game like this almost feels worse because
Yeah. Because you're on
It's-
blue side.
Well, not just that, but it started so well.
Yeah.
It started in a really good position, you know. If this is the sort of game where if you go to game 2 and you fall behind, you're instantly going to be thinking the series is doomed. The fact that you had this advantage in this one, you were playing it well, and then just a couple of fumbles, and
Yeah,
now
remember,
you're
like,
5,000 gold down.
she was like really had a bit of a rough mid to late game, right? But he started it off with a solo kill.
Yeah.
Like everything, like you say, was doing well. We had Lucid chasing Owner out of his jungle, winning out in that early game situation, and it has meant absolutely nothing. As we can see here, the siege is continuing. The Baron getting to work here. As Equalizer goes down, flash in from Beryl, gets the cleanse out from Gumayushi. His carrier going down lower and lower. The Magnastorm not going to save him there. There's some untargetability from Lucid, will not save him here either, as it's a 1-for-1 in the end. And now Doran is rotating over. The needlework is so scary as once again he's under the turret. Once again he's dead under the turret, as aiming not going to be able to stick around though. So with the health bar advantages, Owner? Okay.
That's a little deep.
Okay, that's a choice. You can't go through that base gate. That's okay. He's able to wait things out, and the rest of T1 will join. So
That's just aura, you know.
that was a lot of aura, and I think Showmaker could feel it. As the inhibitor going to be the next to fall here, as T1, they're pretty good at this. Closing out these
Nearly has
games.
ult, by the way.
Yeah,
5
exactly.
seconds.
That's ticking down. They see the orb fly across their heads. Let's see what she can actually get done here. Bullet comes on through. Everyone's slowed down apart from Faker, but I don't think she is going to be able to find too much more there. Voidseeker going to connect, but there is no killer instinct. So no
that
more
be enough?
teleports, no more silly stuff.
Could that be enough to get them Dragon, though? You know, very late recalls coming out from T1. Maybe a window to sneak in, but it looks like Lucid taking the red here, a little bit concerned.
Oh,
They find Carrier.
yeah. Carrier just crashes down over the wall.
He is rather tanky.
He is indeed.
I think they've missed the window. I'm not sure if there was a window. It was a very small window, but they definitely
Alright,
missed
time
it.
to eat, bro.
They didn't go through the window. They did manage to secure their red
Eat,
buff, so there is at least that.
motherfucker.
And T1 going to come on over and look for Soul Point. DK, I mean, they could theoretically fight for it, but I just don't even think that's going to be a worthwhile opportunity. 3 items like you were talking about, a thing to watch out for on aiming, but I feel like it's too little and it's probably too late.
Yeah, the problem is, you know, there's 3 items across the board
I'll
for
shut
T1.
this stream in a
Oh,
bit.
I'm going to connect
I'm
there
gonna
onto
eat.
Doran, and then
Gonna
Showmaker
smoke a
has
last
to
one.
try and find a way out as, oh,
We're
the
gonna
deadly
go to
flourish! That was beautiful from Gumayushi. Has to now walk off the red carpet as Beryl looking for Doran. The Magnastorm's gorgeous! Carrier sacrifices himself for it though, and now they're looking for even more. Over the wall they go. Doran is so low, Guma's so low, but it doesn't matter because
Doesn't
they get a
matter.
clean ace,
Ace.
only losing Carrier for it. And T1 will now look to finish the game.
They will
Deep Force go for an
march.
attempt there, you know,
to
they managed
end.
to find a kill onto the support, but nothing more. They don't have to follow through with Showmaker dead, and with this much of a deficit, it was a tall order anyway. T1 managing to hold strong after,
Yeah.
you know, some troubles, a little bit of troubles in the early game. A very convincing finish out for this game.
Absolutely beautifully done by T1, and it was just the fact that they held it together, right? It looked like things were snowballing out of control, then one overextension around the Krug camp. It seared into my brain. Lucid just a little bit too far up. Beryl gets that first death out of his system, gets the taste for it, and then it's all downhill from there.
I think, you know, it's a combination of T1 being ruthless when punishing these errors, but there were definitely a couple of unforced errors. There was definitely a couple of moments where D+ were aggressive when they didn't need to be and instantly paid for it. So I think T1, zero hesitation coming out of that early game.
Yeah.
Didn't ever feel like they were in a position where they were nervous and really started from the mid-game onwards to set that pace.
And now I think it'll come down to whether DK can actually bounce back. And this is a huge test for this team because they haven't necessarily been known for it, especially when things aren't looking good in the DK camp, right? It's getting those spirits back up again that's going to be so important here. She did still do a fair bit of damage, but look at this. The damage spread is so incredibly
Yeah.
close
You know,
for T1.
Damage isn't everything, but I think the damage difference between the mid and jungle and how
Yeah.
important mid and jungle is at the moment, I think it kind of tells a bit of a story. The Pantheon Azir that came out for Faker and Owner getting a lot of value.
Yeah, and giving over those 2 champions was a risk and one that did not pay off for DK. Thankfully, it's a best of 3. They have another opportunity. We'll see whether they can pick up a win as we go to a short break. Then the space is going to break down game number 1. We'll have game number 2 of our Saturday Showdown.
That's crazy. If I can get to next game draft, after I'm gonna watch it on my TV. Gonna shut the stream, guys. I don't want to get banned, bro. The amount of time I watch LCK I got banned is crazy.
돌릴만 할 것 같아. 나 공하면 돌릴만 할 것 같아. 할만해. 300공이야 나.
교현이 다 밀어내면
왜 아리?
공이 있어.
나 맞추긴 했거든.
다대호야.
아리 잡았다.
여기 나쁘지 않은데. 테리토 와다 앞에. 이거 좋다 좋다. 앞라인 앞라인. 좋다 좋다. 잘 걸었다. 럼블 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 럼블. 카이사 가져야 돼 카이사. 좋아 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 좋아. 끝나겠다 이거. 나이스 나이스. 나 탑을 그냥 막을게.
They got played like some punk ass bitches. Shit, after it's Gen GBF. Yeah. Match 57. Oh, it's 2 p.m. down there. It's daytime down there. It's nighttime, God. Champion. LCK ring. Bro, my mice is 10 times better than that. Like, what the fuck? Guys, look at my mice. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it. That's all the... I got like all those buttons on the side. I got like fucking 12 buttons on the side here. You know? My mice is way more advanced.
There were many times in the mid lane where things looked a little shaky for Faker. Showmaker was trying to make some plays, but in the end, the amount of, I guess, attention that he absorbed ended up being the way that T1 got tempo back in the game and got the win here in game number 1 of our Saturday showdown. Degon alongside Wolf and Wadid to break down that last one here, and it was a good start here for D+, but just weren't able to convert it.
And I think a lot of people will say D+ threw this game or made some big, huge errors that tossed it away, but I think it was just T1 playing the map better in general. I think T1 playing team fights well, but obviously having control over the map, the strong side laning champion like the Azir, is going to do wonders for you. And I just feel like T1, there was some rocky starts at the beginning of the season, but now they're playing as a 5-man unit incredibly well together. They're the better team in game 1.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I really like the draft as well. I can see the direction they really wanted to put. And also, their early game was really great. I think it's just only T1 being T1 and Faker being Faker. So it's not really like DK play bad. It's just T1 getting better and better.
Well, you know, it's really easy for the common eye like myself to watch the game and say, this was a play that didn't quite work out. However, we have a former champion, still a champion in our hearts, we did to break down tempo here that T1 were able to take.
So yeah, DK is trying to use the header to break the mid turret here, but I just want to show how T1 used this tempo. So Faker already knew that they're going to lose the mid turret because of the header. So he's trying to get the tempo back with his side lane pressure, which is really smart because you cannot really defend the turret on the mid lane because they're using the header. So DK is trying to attack the Azir, but the reason why Faker went to the bot lane is because that he already knew that he can actually survive this gank. So he's kind of absorbing the pressure from the DK. Meanwhile, T1's jungle and support is getting the full vision control on the top side for his Gwen on the top side. So Rumble is now isolated and turret is gonna like automatically fall. I mean, he used the equalizer to defend the minion wave, but he's gonna lose the turret eventually, right? And then
Gonna eat a pop
so they use the tempo of the bot lane DK, so they cannot really get the vision back. But Belo really wanted to
after
defend their play on the top
a big
side,
meal
but
like
it's not
this,
gonna work out 'cause
I'm
you're
gonna eat
not
a
very
Pop-Tart,
an Ariel's
motherfucker.
bot lane. So they already had the full information on the top side, T1, because of the Faker, man. Faker absorbing a lot of ganks on the bot lane. That meant a lot, and this play is not gonna work because all the information that T1 has on the top lane is massive, and this is not gonna work whenever you're mid lane and when you don't have the tempo, when you have no vision control on the top side. It's not gonna. It's
critically
never gonna work.
Showmaker doesn't have teleport for this play. Faker did. They should have been able to track that. Faker wasn't the main character of the actual play itself. Like, they wouldn't have won it even if Faker didn't have teleport. But you have to keep all these things in mind. You know, Bengi talking about some of the overextensions as well end up being kind of a thing here as well, where they try to collapse onto a Pantheon. And it's just this kind of macro play and reads where you're, yeah, sure, you got the mid turret, you got Herald, but you lost everywhere else. You ended up losing 2 turrets in side lanes and then tried to force a fight and fail.
And Atlas and Ox did a great job explaining the game is not over yet, but it's these types of moments that D+ have been putting themselves in. They get themselves a decent early lead, and then they just throw it away. They throw it away, not into a losing point, but into a state where the other team can come back, and in this case, T1 did so.
So this fight looks like it might be promising, right, for D+. Carry's already used his ultimate. Everyone's super low on health. Even Faker has taken a bunch of damage. But look at how challenging it is to actually chase this as D+. So if you just watch with the Observer client, you watch when you're sitting at home, it looks like, oh man, this should be really easy. Watch what happens when they try to chase here. Lucid and Aiming are like, ooh, they're going to go full away, so let's try to cut them off. So you see Lucid goes up here and tries to wrap all the way around, whereas because T1 know there's no wave here for D+, and there's no vision, they can actually consolidate as 5 here and start picking the D+ players apart. I think D+ had to try to make something happen here. I think they had to chase. Without information, without vision here, the engage is super lackluster. They're very split. Lucid and Aiming and Showmaker trying to chase there on the top side meant that D+ actually don't collapse the way they want to. Doran gets the TP with the extra time that's bought here, and T1 just runs circles around them and outplay them. Great use of vision, great use of the fact that they had the wave completely controlled there on the bottom side. And still, it's a playable fight here, it looks like, for D+. They have to force this. But again, T1 rather, better set up. And the Zonia's here from Faker as well. Fantastic.
I think that was great breakdown.
Ah!
I think especially for Beryl, he didn't need to rush
so
the fight,
hot.
you know, he already knew that
My
they're in a
pop
position
darts.
where they cannot escape. So,
So
if
hot.
Beryl just hold his skill
God.
and just wait for Nafiri and Ari to come, and I
God.
think they had the better chance, but we could clearly see that why Beryl and DK is struggling, because they're not really synced up for the fight whenever the skill needed to set it up.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
the
eat
toughest
one of
part about
them
all
and
that
keep the
was
other
Shin,
one,
who
I
got at the beginning
guess.
of that play, had teleport.
God.
If you wait 5 more seconds and the coordination's there, he can come back in. You now have an opportunity to really turn that fight.
So like all I want to say is that it's like a playing chess, you know. You cannot really think about, oh, Faker is going bot, so we can attack Faker. You gotta think about the next situation.
The next
if we
situation.
go bot side, we're gonna lose top turret. So oh yeah, we cannot go bot side. Let's give up bot turret and then defend the top lane. It's like a playing chess, right?
I really want to see D+ try to target Faker and draft. I mean, that's my real...
It's true what you said.
Here. I think that's your best way to maybe get ahead in this series, bring it to a game 3.
Love it here. Wolf's Gambit, Wadid's Gambit here. Let's see if D+ are able to find a Gambit to get themselves back in this series and stop this slide before its 6-game losing streak, or will T1 extend theirs to 4 games 1? Let's send it over to Atlas Knox.
Thank you so much, T-Gon. Yes, I am worried about Beryl's Gambit. That's the real Gambit that I'm thinking about, because he really did start falling over quite a few times later and later into that game. And I loved Wadid's breakdown, because you really got to see everything from the tools that DK had, and they had a complete lack of vision. It was entirely a guess from DK. You saw them back away from Faker. It was 2 versus 1. He had his Sun Disc set up, yeah, but they expect Owner and Carrier to be on the bottom side of the map. They had no idea Carrier was there until he Magnet Stormed out of that brush. And I think it's guesses like this that puts DK in really rough situations, because if you have the vision control, if you have the information, you can make a calculated decision instead of
Upon
just
guessing.
like, yeah, they're probably there.
You know, maybe it was a calculated decision, but man, they are bad at math.
They might have been doing math on the stream. That's dangerous.
That's the mistake.
Yeah, that's a rough one to do. This isn't, though. This is Wolf getting it right here with the approach for D+. They're going to take away the Victor, certainly an important one, and the Lilia to be removed from Owner. Yes, it was Owner's Lilia that
They removed the
really,
Kalista.
destroyed DK in that game number 3. Last time these 2 teams met, and I think it makes a lot of sense to be taking that one away. Xin Zhao and Vi, the obligatory bans. Let's see what the final one is going to be here. Maybe a Jace, just get rid of that so she cannot pop off.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is if you ban the Jace, maybe he feels more inclined to pick up the Ambassador, and he's had fantastic games on that.
True.
So they do end up banning the Jace. I think
Remove
Talia being
Rail
able
and
to
Leona
use
first
Varus
game.
too.
Wow.
Varus also available as well. A lot of options right now. And no matter what you take for the side of D+, T1 are going to have something good in return. Looks like they will go for that Varus. I think T1 should take the Talia when it moves over to them.
Yeah, I think Talia is almost higher priority than this champion right here. We'll see what T1 does decide to do. There's no Talia Pantheon available this time that we saw have some fantastic success yesterday. But the Varus certainly going to be high priority. Denying that one from Gumayushi, also a very important one. But let's see what T1's response is going to be. And the problem is, I don't know whether they've banned quite enough here. As you mentioned, the
Talia,
Talia, that's an obvious one.
bang.
But now where does Ona go alongside it? Maybe we're just gifted an Ona lease in-game. Imagine that. Oh, this is good news for D+ fans.
The full loss streak going, it's like, I'm going to break it. I'm going to break it. Yeah, if you're a D+ fan, this is what you were hoping to come through. And also not, I mean, decent setup with the CC, but not like the strongest, most intimidating pairing. Talia Pantheon sounds a lot scarier than Talia Sejuani.
Yeah.
And now for D+, looking at the Rise for Showmaker here as a solid mid option.
Yep, Blind Rise is something that we have been worried about in the past, but it's not blind, it's into Talia, so this makes a little bit
It's
more
into
sense.
the Talia, it's not
No
blind.
damage on the Rise, so you don't need to worry about the rocks.
That's what I was gonna say.
And wondering what
It's
we
not
see
blind.
for,
It's right into the
Lucid here.
Talia, I
would
think.
assume a jungle pick comes through. There's things like the Poppy's open, the Viego, the Wukong. All picks, I could imagine them picking up in this situation.
I think Viego for T1.
Wukong angle is kind of fun. Does mean that
Wukong
Shield
for
is
D+.
going to go
Yeah.
a little bit wide, but they're listening to us, Ox. They are thinking that the Wukong could certainly be a choice. Wukong into Sejuani is a tale as old as time. We've seen it in the LCK many, many times. Sort of the understandable answer, but Lucid, like during his utterly dominant streak in Challenger, Wukong was at the height of his popularity, and so utilized it a lot to get a lot.
What, they going top?
Yep. And here
Not
you
going
also see that
Aatrox.
something the Darren
What are they gonna
really
play
card
top?
match for Guma. They end up looking to
Who they gonna
force
play
the Camille.
top?
We've seen this rise of Forbidden Priority.
That's what I'm
and
thinking.
also,
Not Cassante.
You know, a good matchup into the Ambassador. We have to
Sion,
first
no.
came out, Camille was a pick that was being used as an answer into it, and obviously
Rumble?
weaker than when she came out.
Who's gonna play Rumble?
So kind of twofold. One, you
Camille, oh, yeah.
Sejuani, it works well for T1, but two, also.
What,
they
D+
can
going with Rumble or what?
and immediately going to start
I'm not sure.
With that Jax taken off the cards. Now for D+, I think you start to target the 80 carry pool. Xayah going to be taken away from Guma immediately.
Yeah, this is it feels like a bit of a gambit. I think picking up Guma
Xayah
would
Rakan,
have been
Xayah.
the safest option there for T1. But this is kind of cool, you know, picking the Camille and then protecting it as best you can. Of course, Poppy kind of difficult.
Oh, you can't play what you already banned in the first game or what?
It is pretty
That's how it is now?
The Jax, we understand this one. This has been the classic matchup. Now it's like Shiu can go towards Fiora if you want to get into that sort of territory, but it looks like Camille's going to be pretty safe there towards the top
Ready
side. as well.
star.
Just an immediate lock-in.
What?
That R for Alistair so common that we end up seeing that come through. Interestingly, I opted to ban the Lucian instead and left that one available. And the thing is, you're never going to have too much fun on the side of D+ playing into T1's composition if you're playing an engaged support, specifically because of that Talia. Makes a lot of champions like
Oh, they took the Rakan. I was taking Xayah Rakan for T1 though.
The good old Rakan into Talia.
I knew it, the Cassante top. I fucking knew it. I was like, what are they gonna play top D+? He has to be Cassante. I fucking knew it. It was either Rumble or Cassante. It was either Rumble or Cassante, bro. Nah, I mean, either Rumble or Cassante. Had to.
And Camille, you actually take damage on this champion when you're playing into those two, so a little concerning. And I really hope it's, I mean, Wukong Rakan is a cool combo, but into Talia, into Camille, you only get exploded if you pick Rakan here. So please, I'm hoping it is not the Rakan.
It depends what Barrel's goals are.
Yeah, nice. The Braum, nice. That's good. Wow.
Again, because if that was his goal, then
Wow.
the Rakan would have been locked in. The MF just going to be picked face up into a Braum. Doesn't necessarily feel fantastic, but the ways this composition can flank on T1 side means that the door value, even if you are just picking
With the
MF,
MF, God. I didn't guess the bot lane though. The bot lane is T1 bot lane. Easy to play. Super strong.
Also, we see a lot of Brahms not putting points in their shield.
MF at the start,
So if you end
God.
up, you know, let's say you have Camille ult aiming and Beryl jumps in front to block, he will just die. Yes, he will just die. Because as much as the wall does a lot to stop it, if you're behind, if you're down at levels which, you know, supports and pro play are, you will go down. So I think T1, I think
Guys,
what they got
we're
from
not
the
gonna
top
watch
side
the
is
whole
fantastic.
game.
Alistair
We're
really
just
strong
gonna
as
watch the
well.
beginning
I
of
think
it.
D+ were in danger
I
really
gotta
hard
go to
to
bed.
themselves. I think they
I
didn't
gotta
do
go
that,
to
but,
bed.
you know, I
It's
still
already
think there's
3.
question marks. Playing into
Shit.
Talia, which has been such a
It's already
valuable
3,
pick
bro.
on this patch as well. And Cassante, I'm really not sold on. I don't think the buff was enough.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about the whole Cassante situation.
The whole Cassante
Especially when
situation.
if the rocks are down and you press your all-out button and go through a wall and you can just like eat all of the rocks and then die in the 1v1 on the other side of the fight, it can feel a little bit bad. But we'll have to trust Chiu that he knows what he's doing in this matchup. It just really felt like T1 had taken away a lot of the tools used to try and keep this Camille down. So Doran actually, I feel, is going to be a bit of a main character moving into this game number 2 as T1 poised for a 2-0 over DK here in our Saturday Showdown. See whether they can do it.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, T1 fans in full voice here in Low Park, but you can feel some of the desperation on the DK side at the same time. We'll see whether that is going to pay off as we get into it. Faker on his Talia, a pick that he has found a lot of success on in the past. Not necessarily in his like top 10 most iconic picks, but those ones are champions he's been playing a whole lot of times for a very, very long time. So still going to be a good one. And I think this season as well, his Talia has looked good.
Did just land a full threaded volley on the Showmaker, who kind of stopped moving after that.
Yeah.
Seemed like I could see Rise sigh. He didn't, but it felt like I could see him sigh.
I could kind of feel him flex. He's like, I can take it. You know, that's what I felt.
That's a positive way to look at it.
Yeah.
Like Beryl would definitely do that.
Yeah. He did. He did that over and over again in the last game, and then they lost. That's kind of how that one went. And that is not a criticism, because of course I do not actually understand what makes Beryl the way he is. Maybe these deaths in some of these games are why he's a 2-time world champion.
You know?
Headbutt out.
You know? That's another thing to consider. That's what I was gonna say, bro. The guy's 2 times world champion. For support, there's a reason why. You know?
Aiming Barrel still needing to deal with this wave. Gumayushi doing
he does those deaths maybe on purpose to understand something, you know.
Be a little bit cautious.
He's trying to understand something doing that.
Because playing into Braum typically,
he's looking at the patterns.
Lose out because of passive stacking.
He's gathering intel maybe, looking at the patterns.
The longer the trade goes, the longer the fight goes, the worse you lose it. You know, you have the passive for that initial burst from Guma. Short trades, poke trades like that, perfect. That's exactly how you wanted to go. If it turns into an all-in, it does get a bit messy. I will say, Ignite for Carrier versus Heal for Barrel does give a bit of advantage in the all-in, but I don't think it's really going to be enough unless it's a big misplay from D+ bot lane.
Huh. So, 2025 has not been a good year for the Cassante.
Yeah. I mean, he's been nerfed so many times, and the buff he got in return, which I believe was like his W damage,
it's not good enough.
I don't think it's enough to really change the game. And especially, you know, maybe there's a scenario where Cassante is really good and you're like, okay, this feels phenomenal, but into Camille, I think Camille's going to have a fine time, particularly into this composition with Talia, who just, the Unraveled Earth really chokes out what Cassante wants to do, which is dash all the time, and also she actually can cut through him.
Yeah.
Often with her building like Leandri's.
I can clarify what the buff was. It was 5 base damage to Pathmaker. W. Wow. And so, doesn't really do all that much.
Guys, gonna smoke. As soon as my shit is over, gonna shut the stream, bro.
And even though there are some difficulties towards that top side, I do think that this Wukong is going to be incredibly important in this game for DK. I think the team fighting for them as well is going to be very, very strong. And there's not a massive amount of range on T1's side, right? So this could be a possibility. We have to remember that as well, like with the Cassante, there is the fact that you can drag the Camille out of a Hextech Ultimatum with your ulti, and that can help cancel it. So the setup isn't quite as good if it is just onto this top laner. So there is that. There's the understandable reason as to why he picked it. It's just not sure whether it's exactly the greatest. There's good flash there from aiming. His Beryl also able to get out of the way and puts up the door in a really good spot.
Wow.
And they're even able to turn this. A lot of value from that piercing arrow, but both flashes now on cooldown, and Gumayushi holds on to his. Good news for T1.
There could not be a clearer indicator that they didn't know Owner was there than when Beryl jumped in.
Wait, no, but this is the
They didn't know.
Is that an indicator of that?
He didn't know. Yes. He didn't know the jungler was there.
Last game.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's all right, Lucid. Come on,
He didn't know.
has an
He didn't know the
avenue.
jungler was there.
It's going to be no. And aiming, you can see with the lethal tempo as well. So going for more of that on-hit version of the Varus. Over a ward goes Lucid once again. So bottom lane understanding that they can continue to push forward for T1. This first streak is going to spawn. It's going to be an ocean, meaning that our soul could be a good one. And
Yo.
back up here towards the top
Running
side.
out
Pulverize gonna
of
connect now.
Sirach.
He's taking a lot of damage. Remember, no flash. Has to cleanse. As Carrier
Pretty
brings down
nice.
the late ignite.
Yeah, Barrel actually out of mana, which is kind of hard to do in a brawl. If I'm being real, definitely a lot of Winter's Vice spam. Now the Hex Flash coming in.
Yeah, over the wall goes Carrier. And he's out of turret range. Finds a double pulverize. Make a rain comes down as Gumayusi comes on over. The door is set up at first blood. Still goes over to the Misfortune. And Beryl, like you say, didn't have a whole lot of the blue stuff, but is now going to have to deal with another wave as Carrier finds yet another pulverize. He will die, and Beryl is fine. And Gumayusi decided that he did not want to kill him.
All in Beryl's plan. He's the carry.
Showmaker is coming down towards his bottom side as well. As he realm warps in, he's got a flash.
Kill, he's got cleanse.
Yeah. So Showmaker's still going to flash for it. Throws a Q, doesn't quite do enough damage. And so is going to trade his flash for a cleanse, which I would say in my little book of conversions, that's not worth it.
Look,
That's
this
not
is an
worth it.
assumption.
It wasn't.
I'm not saying it's true. But I
He
think
tried.
It's very funny if he realm warps in and he's like, what summons does MF have? Beryl's like, no summons, no summoners at all.
Yeah.
Flashes, cleanses,
And immediately tilts.
grumbles a little bit.
Yeah.
Not saying that was the case, but it would be very, very true. That happens all the time in solo queue when you don't know like, what summons does bot lane have.
Yeah, no sums, quick. You need to come, you need to come, you need to come.
Go for the flash play in, and then they just flash out, and everyone dies. I was like, oh, no, they still had, they still had that one.
Awkward, it must have just come up, haha.
Yeah, the lack of mana for Barrel means he saves his mana for his E, but doesn't have mana to Q as well. Guma flashes through the wall to kill, and it's just... This is just bad lane management from the side of D+. The fact that you have a scenario where Barrel's out of mana and aiming's that low shouldn't really be happening.
Yeah. Still, we have to really point out that T1 did get the much better end of that trade. They not only get first blood, but they also keep Gumayusi around as aiming died, so isn't able to pick up experience.
He's losing gold experience.
Gold lead for the MF going to be far more important than Beryl having a 140 ahead of Carrier. As DK thinking about going for a contest, but I don't know about it. As Seismic Shove going wide. Carrier comes in, gets a pulverize onto Lucid, who does get the decoy off. And now Dorian just says, nope, you do not have a jungler. They also take down the dragon on the back end as aiming. He is just going to get evicted from this area. No flash, no chance. And Gumayusi even able to walk on over, give him a love tap, take him down. Shu on this top side of the map is at least trying to get something back, but I don't know whether it's going to be enough to make that play worthwhile.
Great moves from Darn to come down there as soon as they
Did he take Faker kill or what?
Knew they were cooked, but no summoners on that bot lane meant they were never going to be able to get out of that situation, and just
Trying to feed
again,
Guma.
it just feels a little bit messy from D+, a little bit misguided. The deficit isn't that big so far in this game, but T1 looking a lot cleaner so far.
Yo, they're digging. T1 is digging them.
On this Misfortune as well, so we're going to have a look at it one more time.
It's like they're setting up for this fight. T1 are grouped together and Showmaker's at a complete distance. And also just, you know, question mark pings coming out in the top lane. Like, oh, where's Darn? Oh, there he is. Yeah, and because they don't have flashes on Barrel or aiming, they just all die.
And yes, you see, aiming having the difficulty of not being able to walk very fast to get out of seismic shoves. So Faker able to pull him back in, get
Pull him back in.
to make that lane even more difficult for this Varus. T1 looking to take down these grubs at the same time. They will be one objective away from picking up feats of strength in this game if that does in fact come in. Showmaker looking to try and defend as Gumayusi Carrier are set up. Owner is taking the grubs. They're just taking all sorts of things all the time. And T1's lead, I think, is only going to extend from this point on as Lucid looking to try and at least get a crab, consolation crab there for the Wukong. She looking to go a little bit aggressive. Even has time to go back and get the cannon. You like to see that. And
Yeah.
I feel like he's everywhere this game. As the
Kara's
Cyclone comes
everywhere.
In, can Carrier actually get in there to headbutt Lucid under the turret, and he does in fact do so. He flashes away, Realm Warp going to come on through. That gets rid of Beryl. So Beryl lives, and Lucid is very dead.
Feels desperate. You know, great move there from Carrier, hiding in the brush in between. Middle to spot,
Yeah.
Lucid moving around, but it just feels like these plays they're going for desperation, really. Wasn't in position for follow-up to come through onto Guma, and Lucid does go down. It seems like D+'s woes are just getting more and more dear.
Yes, it's not looking great. As Shiu does get the knockback. That was a cute little play. Looks for the all-out angle, but Doran just able to use the ult, gets back behind him, and Shiu doesn't have that angle anymore. Still going to be able to get the ult out for basically free here. And so the Cassante looking pretty good at this point in time.
He's looking alright. Hasn't died yet.
See Ona hanging around for cover, but he has gone now.
I thought it will be like 0-1 by now. It will be like 0-1-1 or 0-1. Bro, he's 0-0-0.
Vicious play, even if Carrier wasn't there, but Carrier being there just meant there was no chance of it working.
There was no chance he will survive. The fact that there's the ult of Sejuani, the flash ult, and
Owner also over the wall with the Glacial Prison towards the end there, just to put the icing on the cake. Worked out very, very well as Lucid on top of the ward once again. They've been tracking this Wukong so effectively. It feels like T1, no surprises on the map for them whatsoever. Whereas DK are doing a lot of guesswork, and they have not been guessing correctly.
Oh no, they have not.
As Doran now, Trinity Force in hand, Gumishi looking to lock down this bottom outer turret. And DK, I don't know whether they'll be able to get in, as Shiu's going to move down. Faker's in position though. Shiu desperately trying to get towards this turret. He takes a fair bit of damage, but he is pretty tanky. And he gets over to the other side of the wall. Lucid going in. And Shiu clears out the wave. Yeah, now that he's here, Shiu's like, how do I get down? You know, it's like doing that mountain climbing where you climb up and you're like, wait a second, how am I supposed to figure out my way back? Showmaker teleports in, and maybe that is the way he did it. Just asks his teammate to bring a ladder.
Just save him, just keep coupling. Oh.
Okay, Chains of Corruption going down. Remember, Doran doesn't have the ulti as they get the stun down onto Doran, but he's just quite tanky enough. And DK not going to be able to get the kill. Still, they get the flash, and that is important.
they got the flash, they got the ult.
That first time completed. If he had that
They got
play with
Trinity.
King, I think Doran would have just been dead. But the deficits, the goal deficit, showing that, you know, even plays that make sense start to fail when you're lacking that extra bit of damage.
Well, speaking of an extra bit of damage, I think Faker certainly has it. As the threaded volley is coming down, we're going to stop watching that one as Lucid.
Oh, get out!
Hook shot is so good from Doran. Bullet time comes down as well. Beryl almost just dead from that one, but they do manage to get the Camille, but at what cost? The answer is everything.
Easy cleanup for the side of T1. You know, G+, go for that initial play onto Doran. Forward, but here,
Doran died. If he was Zeus, Zeus would have got a double or got one of them and survived. That's the difference. You can see that T1 is missing Zeus, bro. Zeus wouldn't have died. That's the difference. Doran will die, of course, and not get the kill. Get at least the assist. And he played it well. Like right there. Bow, got out. Went back in, boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Gumiushi unanswered on the bullet time, and then just comes on over and auto attacks them down. T1 just
Did he get both assists at least?
Right? And you've got Shiu, yeah, he's in the
He
mid
did.
lane, he's able to get like a plate or two or something like that, but the Cassante being 180 gold ahead just doesn't really mean anything at all.
Yeah.
I think the MF being 1.6k ahead at 13 and a half minutes into the game is probably the more important thing.
It's looking pretty scary. It's looking pretty bad. And also, you know, you have a Braum on your team. You're kind of relying on like the Wukong to be engaging, and Lucid is falling further and further behind. Like, look at the health bar of the Wukong compared to Sejuani.
Yeah.
You dive in as this Wukong, you're probably just dead immediately.
Well, Lucid is going to dive in and just flashes away and dies. Still, Showmaker and Shiu, they're going to come on over. All Out is going to be used to separate Owner from this fight, but he just gets back towards this collapse onto Showmaker. And Gumiushi, he comes down yet again. They've set the table for it, and they're now looking to grab these kills. Glacial Prison comes on through once more, but Shiu, pretty tanky, so isn't going to be dying just yet. In the meantime, Faker on that top side of the map is looking to take down this turret. Should be able to do so. Remember, first turret blood still on the cards. No feats of strength taken just yet. Is just one objective away here for T1. As 3,000 gold is still the lead. Faker still up here. Should be able to get this.
This is kind of what I was worried about after game one. Because game one, D+ had a lead, had an advantage, managed to push.
Yo,
push it a
T1
little bit,
is
and then they
choking
started
them.
flounder, and T1 pulled
Oh
back.
shit, Faker couldn't
This
get
is a
it,
game, though,
and
where
they couldn't
T1
either.
wants to lead the charge,
Wow.
have the advantage, and it just
Couldn't
doesn't
get the
come
towers.
remotely close.
Nope. I feel like the floundering is where we started.
Yeah.
Instead of
And I mean-
what we got.
Yo guys, I'm out. I'm going to watch it on my
So much
TV.
damage
Fuck you guys.
before the red even goes down. Like maybe the thought process is, hey, we can collapse on them. Then commit to the fight. You know, you're dying for a red buff, and then you're opting into a 2v2 when you're behind, and then Guma turns up as well. It's just, I think even D+, if the players were looking at this play, which undoubtedly they'll review, they won't have any justification. They'll be like, yeah, I don't know what we're doing either. It just really feels like they're a little bit lost right now.
It's looking like that. It's sort of been the tale of the week, to be perfectly honest. A loss against KT is not something many of us were expecting.
Week like EA or week like EE?
Both.
Yeah, I
Pick one. Or just, yeah, do both.
Just
I think it's fine. Showmaker and Lucid going to see whether they can kill Faker. And Faker just skates away.
Yep.
Could be something to transition into some sort of Archon play, as I say. Let's
punish Faker in the side lane. That's never failed before. That's always a solid strategy against T1. I'm sure he's all by himself and doesn't have the entirety of the Avengers ready to assemble the second something goes wrong.
The old Avengers or the new ones?
Both of them together.
Oh, all of them?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Rift Herald is just going to be secured here by T1. And Showmaker standing on a ward. That could be scary. Blast Cone here. It's an Infernal Soul, so we'll have a few extra Blast Cones. Sorry, Valdez. As, yes, T1 just trying to get even more control, just to make sure that Faker can very safely take this turret on this top side. As I've seen fights in this area happen before, as Beryl throws out an ulti for fun.
Yes, so engage form still not working too hotly.
Yeah. He did hit 2 people with it. So there's that.
So you're saying it's not his fault?
No, I'm saying he should have probably not done it because no one was there to do anything about it. Because even though the thing that he wanted to happen happened, there was no actual result.
Yeah, it wasn't a skill issue, it was a decision issue.
Yes, it was certainly one of those. It's okay, Lucid just clearing things out. And let's see where T1 are going to strike next. Just feels already like it's a circling of the drain. It's a 4,000 gold lead, and that is pretty considerable here for 17.5 minutes. And look at that, linear gold graph. If you were Tom or Coma, you'd be sitting backstage, you're like, yes, that is right, boys. That's how we want to snowball a lead.
Yep. And this could end up being a win of the Sejuani for Ona, breaking that loss streak.
Yeah, this is the important thing on T1's side. What was it, 0-4?
Yep,
that
0-4.
seems crazy. As Headbutt Pole under Beryl. Ona swings a flail at him as okay. Aiming going to start this one up. He's already down very low. As the flash forward, can they actually kill Guma? Is the question. The answer so far is no. They take down Beryl finally. They overextend far enough to kill the Misfortune, but now the rest of them are likely to go down. Doran just executes aiming underneath the turret. And Shiu trying to escape. That blast cone direction was looking a little dicey, but he gives them the good old thumbs up as he exits. But they didn't need to kill Shiu to feel really good about how this fight goes, as Lucid is just running for the hills. And he will get out, but at what cost?
I'm not sure why Lucid didn't flash. I actually think, like, don't get me wrong, they probably would have lost that fight anyway. But if you're going to go for that play, and Guma flashes your Cyclone, you have to flash after. I find that so... Did he not have the flash available at the time? I want to see the replay and check, because...
Yeah, it might have just been coming up or something like that, because I was kind of waiting for that angle as well, as Faker will find Shiu, dashes over some rocks, but is otherwise going to be okay. Let's have a look at it one more time and check. Yeah, flash like not quite up.
Wasn't quite available, because if you look here, he goes for Guma, and then I expected a flash now to come in.
Yep.
So he could follow up and get the knock-up, and then Guma just dies, and yes, it's still a hard fight, but a lot more playable. And as you can see, his flash only coming up in a few seconds, so really unfortunate. The problem is, you may think, oh, well, why didn't he just wait for his flash? But moments like those, timings like those, when you're this far behind, you don't get a pick and choose. Nope. They come, and you either try and take it, or you don't. They try to take it, it backfired, and now things are looking even more dire.
Man, aiming is looking Yeah, like he doesn't really have very much in this game. 1-4-1 on this Varus. And still just looking for some scraps to try and put together his second item, that Rage Blade. Looking full of rage, but not a lot of blade at this point in time. And 2 items already done here. Gumushi does have his Lord Doms as well as that Bloodthirster already done. This MF is just very, very powerful. 11 out of 12 as far as kill participation is concerned as well. Highest in the game. Really nicely done. Beryl, cute sidestep there from Ona, but still not going to be able to find anything from this play. Is DK going to need a bit of a miracle to try and get back into this one? And it feels like T1, they don't give the opportunities, right? Because they're not overextending into vision that they don't have, as the bullet time is so good. Beryl's door does pretty much nothing, and aiming is just shredded. Down goes the Wukong as well, as there is an all-out, so they killed Umayushi.